Welcome to my channel. World Scene News. Subscribe to my channel for news updates all around the world. In the sterile humming data center of China's Ministry of Commerce, where the air is thick with the quiet whir of servers and the glow of monitors never dims, analyst Li Wei sat hunched over his workstation in the late months of 2024, eyes fixed on a cascade of numbers and graphs. His responsibility was immense: to monitor the nation's most precious strategic assets, rare earth elements, using a cutting-edge blockchain ledger that tracked every gram, every shipment, every transaction in real time. For weeks, the new system had performed flawlessly, its digital threads weaving a tapestry of perfect accountability. But today, a sophisticated AI monitoring tool flagged a subtle, almost imperceptible discrepancy in the data stream. The numbers simply didn't add up. Somewhere, a gap had appeared, small, but undeniable. In a system built on precision, even the faintest ghost in the data was a red flag. Li began cross-referencing shipment logs, customs declarations, and satellite imagery, searching for the source of the anomaly. Official records showed rare earths destined for factories in Guangdong, but when Li checked, their inventories hadn't increased as expected. The numbers on paper didn't match the reality on the ground. Instead, the AI detected a suspicious pattern: small, undeclared shipments quietly leaving a nearby logistics hub, each listed as innocuous goods, easily overlooked by routine customers. Aggregated over several weeks, these minor shipments formed a significant, unaccounted-for outflow, a slow, methodical bleed of China's vital resources. Li knew this was no accident, and escalated his findings to his superiors. Within days, a multi-agency task force was assembled, drawing experts from customs, security, and technology departments. The initial theory was simple: perhaps a clerical error, or maybe low-level theft by warehouse staff. But, as the investigation deepened, it became clear the operation was far too sophisticated. Shipments were regular, documentation was flawless, and destinations varied across the country. This was a managed siphon, exploiting subtle gaps in China's export controls, an operation designed to evade even the most advanced oversight. The task force soon realized they were facing a direct threat to national security. The building blocks of modern military technology, rare earths, were leaking out, potentially into the hands of foreign adversaries. The anomaly on Li's screen was not just a technical glitch, but the first thread of a conspiracy that would soon shake global supply chains and test the limits of China's control. The smuggler's system was a blend of old-school cunning and modern logistics, a shadowy network that thrived on secrecy and innovation. In backrooms and warehouses, plans were drawn up with meticulous care, each detail scrutinized to avoid detection. Rare earth oxides, resembling fine powders, were hidden inside hollow plastic mannequins shipped to Southeast Asia, bypassing strict cargo inspections. The smugglers exploited the sheer volume of global trade, knowing that customs officials couldn't possibly check every crate. Other shipments mixed rare earths with talcum powder or gypsum, cleverly mislabeled as ceramic or construction materials. These decoys blended seamlessly into legitimate exports, making the illicit cargo nearly invisible among thousands of containers. The operation ran through a maze of shell companies in Malaysia, Vietnam, and Thailand, laundering the mineral's origin. Each company was a piece of a puzzle, designed to confuse investigators and obscure the true source of the materials. Shipments traveled from China to Southeast Asian ports, where they were repackaged and given new documentation. At each stop, the paperwork was altered, and the cargo's identity was further disguised. Each stop added paperwork, burying the true source under layers of fraud. The paper trail became a labyrinth, nearly impossible to untangle without inside knowledge. Ultimately, the trail led to the United States, where the shipments arrived looking entirely legitimate, their origins expertly concealed. The laundered rare earths, now appearing as legitimate Southeast Asian products, were imported by U.S. firms. These companies, often unaware of the true source, trusted the paperwork and the apparent legitimacy of their suppliers. These firms, acting as middlemen, sold the materials to their final clients, moving the rare earths deeper into the American supply chain. The end users, at least 3 major U.S. defense contractors, giants of the military-industrial complex, whose products rely on a steady supply of rare earth elements for advanced weaponry and technology. The entire scheme, from mannequins to shell companies, was designed to circumvent China's controls and feed America's military-industrial complex. It was a high-stakes game of cat and mouse. With billions of dollars and national security on the line, the investigation revealed a global supply chain subverted for strategic gain, stretching across continents and involving dozens of actors, each playing their part in the deception. China's rare earths were fueling the very technologies they sought to control, an ironic twist in a world where power often lies hidden beneath the surface. Chinese authorities deployed cutting-edge tech to unravel the smuggling web. The blockchain ledger provided an immutable record, revealing 120 tons missing from the supply chain. High-res satellite imagery and AI scoured cargo databases, flagging suspicious shipments. Advanced scanners at ports were recalibrated to detect rare earths, even when disguised. The breakthrough came by cross-referencing financial records. Payments from Southeast Asian shell companies traced back to Chinese insiders. This fusion of blockchain, AI, and financial forensics mapped the entire domestic network. The smugglers' shadow network was now fully illuminated. With the network exposed, Chinese authorities struck. In coordinated dawn raids, over 30 individuals were arrested: masterminds, warehouse managers, customs agents, and logistics brokers. The arrests sent shockwaves through the shipping industry, a warning against collusion with foreign entities. The government quickly tightened export controls, focusing on postal and courier services, the smugglers' main channel. Enhanced screening and mandatory scanning closed the loopholes. In July, China's Ministry of State Security publicly announced the bust, accusing unnamed foreign agents. The message was clear: China could track and intercept illicit flows, turning a domestic case into an international incident. The crackdown marked a new era of vigilance. Rare earths, 17 metallic elements, are the secret ingredients of modern technology. China controls over 60% of global mining and 90% of processing, making it the world's rare earth superpower. These elements are essential for high-performance magnets, electric vehicles, wind turbines, and miniaturized electronics. In defense, they're critical for missile guidance, stealth coatings, and jet engines. An F-35 jet needs over 400 kilos of rare earths. For China, rare earth dominance is a geopolitical lever, comparable to oil in the Middle East. The smuggling of 120 tons to U.S. defense contractors was a direct threat to Beijing's strategic interests. The episode underscored how these obscure elements fuel the great power competition of the 21st century. The bust came as China tightened its grip on rare earth exports. In April 2025, Beijing implemented a one-batch, one-license regime. Every shipment required specific approval. Exporters had to provide exhaustive documentation, including end-user details, giving China insight into foreign supply chains. The process was slow and cumbersome, creating uncertainty for Western industries. The smuggling ring was a direct attempt to bypass these new controls. Instead of loosening, China doubled down, using the bust to justify even stricter oversight. U.S. companies now faced the reality: China could delay or deny shipments at will. The era of easy access to Chinese rare earths was over. News of the bust sent shockwaves through markets and governments. Rare earth prices surged, with fears of a supply crunch. In Washington, officials denied knowledge, but launched urgent reviews of supply chain vulnerabilities. The incident exposed the U.S. military's dependence on China and failures in procurement oversight. Beijing used the bust as political messaging, framing it as a victory against foreign espionage. Other nations realized their own supply chains were at risk, as China signaled a new era of resource nationalism. The globalized system of open trade was fracturing. The fight over 120 tons of mineral powder revealed a more confrontational economic landscape. After the bust, both China and the U.S. fundamentally reshaped the rare earth trade, setting the stage for a new era of vigilance and competition. The stakes had never been higher, as these minerals were now recognized as essential to everything from smartphones to advanced military technology. China responded swiftly, accelerating security at its ports and enforcing the strict one-batch, one-license system. Every shipment faced intense scrutiny, with customs officers meticulously inspecting cargo to prevent unauthorized exports and ensure compliance with new regulations. The Ministry of State Security expanded its oversight, extending its focus beyond rare earths to all strategic minerals. This move effectively built a fortress around China's key industries, making it clear that access to these resources would be tightly controlled and closely monitored. In response, the US launched a wave of new subsidies and investments, determined to build a non-Chinese supply chain. By partnering with allies like Australia and Canada, America aimed to secure its own sources of rare earths and reduce its dependence on Chinese exports. Rebuilding domestic processing infrastructure would be a massive undertaking, expected to take years. But for the first time, the political will and financial backing were firmly in place, signaling a long-term commitment to reshaping the industry. In the meantime, US companies found themselves navigating China's increasingly restrictive regime. To secure the materials they needed, they were often required to provide sensitive information and comply with complex new procedures, adding layers of risk and uncertainty. The aftermath was a period marked by deep uncertainty and strategic realignment. Companies and governments alike scrambled to adapt, reassessing their supply chains and forging new partnerships in a rapidly shifting landscape. The global rare earth landscape had changed for good, ushering in a future where vigilance, innovation, and international cooperation would define the new normal. The smuggling case marked a turning point in US-China relations and global trade in strategic materials. The era of uninterrupted commercially driven resource flows is over. Both nations now prioritize security over efficiency, preparing for strategic decoupling. The US rush to invest in domestic and allied rare earth production is just beginning. For China, the goal is to consolidate dominance and leverage it as state power. Supply chains for critical technologies are being redrawn along geopolitical lines. The story of the smuggled rare earths is a microcosm of this larger struggle. The future will be defined by competing economic blocs, each striving for self-sufficiency in the resources that matter most.